Okay, so for what I'm calling the 1 heart block, we need 24 2.5 inch by 6.5 inch strips. So I'm going to go ahead and cut those now. By 6.5. Alright, that's 8. Let's do it this way. Go. That's 16. Actually, yeah. So 24 of those. Okay, then we need 24 2.5 by 4.5 inch blue strips. By 4.5. So there's 8. So there's our 24 blue. And while we have the blue out, we also need 32 2.5 inch squares. Be able to get 2.5 of that, so actually hang on. So 1, 2, 4, 6, 8. So 8, 16, 20, hopefully I've got just enough of this. Actually, I need to turn that around. I should have turned it around before. Nope. I should have turned it around before. Okay, so we need 24 2.5 inch pieces. Well, what do we call 2.5 inch squares? Yeah. So we need 24 2.5 inch squares of the green. I should have done those when I cut up the other strips, but I forgot. So we'll get them now. That's 4. I could get my strip ruler out, but yeah, it's all right. Actually, I will get my big ruler out, otherwise this is going to take forever. 12. These two. Actually, no, we'll set the, oh, we'll cut those two. I'll cut these down first. Not doing a very good job of fussy cutting. Oh well. I could have really gone through and taken my time cutting out each little bird, but yeah. Let's see. Okay, so 4, 8, 12, 16, and 20. So I need 4 more. We'll just cut out of these last 2 scraps here. And since I'm seeing this, I might as well go ahead and fussy cut this one. So 2 more. I'm not gonna worry about fussy cutting this one. I'm gonna be way off. Alright. So that should be 24. Okay. Now we need 24 2.5 by 4.5 inch green. Uh-oh, I cut one too short. Oopsie. So that's 8. 16. And 24. Okay, now I need 12 pieces, 2.5 by 4.5 inches of pink fabric that are going to be similar to what we've already cut. So you see I had my blue and my green with the birds on them. So I want to use the birds fabric that I have of the pink for this particular cut. And then I've got some other cuts that are coming up that I'm going to use either a dark color or a light color. And I'll tell you what with those. But for this particular portion of the block, I want to use my bird fabric. So 12 2.5 by 4.5 inch pieces. All right. So that's 8. We really only need 4 more. Alright, so that's my 12 2.5 by 4.5 inch pieces. Slip that out of the way for a minute. Then I need, for D, I need 6 2.5 by 8.5 inch pieces. Okay, so I need 6 2.5 by 8.5 inch strips now. 2.5 by 8.5. Alright, set this aside. Okay, next we need to cut 21 2.5 by 5 inch light colored pieces that are going to go around our heart, and I'm going to cut 42 altogether because we're doing 6 squares, and I've got 3 on each side of the heart, actually 4, sorry, because even though it says F, it's falling under this category. We're going to do stitch and flip method. How these instructions lay it out, you're actually supposed to cut the angles, all that. I don't want to do that. I'd much rather do the stitch and flip method. So I'm going to cut it 2.5 by 5 inches for each, this one, each of the E's and the F as well. And then I'm just going to do the stitch and flip method. And so we need to cut 42 2.5 by 5 inch pieces. 21 of them I'm going to cut in one direction, 21 of them I'm going to cut in the opposite direction, because this is very directional fabric here. I could go random and it wouldn't really make any kind of huge difference. You know, if I had one this way and one this way, it's not going to, honestly, probably not going to notice it in the long run. But I'm going to try to keep them facing the same direction. So, alright, let me get this out of the way and I'm going to go ahead and do that. So 21, let me tilt you up a little bit, don't freak out. But like I said, I'm going to do stitch and flip method on this, so a lot of this is going to get cut off anyway. Alright, 2.5 by 4.5, 21 pieces to start. That's 4. 8. Shoot, I should have done 3 strips. I wasn't thinking. Oh well. 16. I'm just gonna go ahead and grab another strip here. 16. Cut off the end. Maybe cut a little bit further in. And that gives me 20. One of these bigger ones here. Turn one this way. This is a beautiful one. Honestly, I'm not sure if this is directional. I might have messed that up. If I messed it up, I can't see it. Those are going down. Are they going down on this one? Nope, they're going up. Okay. Let's check this one. Face up. Face up. And face up. This down. Face down. I guess it really doesn't matter which way it's facing when you're cutting it. It matters which way you put this half square triangle on, which way you stitch and put it. Sometimes I get ahead of myself and start thinking I need to be fussy cutting right now. And I don't just yet. That's 6, 8, 10. 10. So grab a couple more here. Let's do this in case I need a long one still. Okay, so now I should have all the pieces cut for around our heart. And you can see to the sides of the heart I just did the lighter color. I had thought about keeping them pink, but a very light pink, and then doing a dark pink for the hearts. But I thought, you know what, I better use the white so that it pops out a little bit more. But I'm going to use these two colors right here for my actual heart. And I'm going to do the lighter color as both the top and the bottom, with the more burgundy color as the G piece right here in the center. So, and I hope I have enough. I haven't really, my math on this wasn't very good. I had my 2.5 inch strips already pulled before I actually had it written out in EQ8. So hopefully I've got enough of everything for all the blocks I need to do. Once we get this one cut, then we actually only have one other block to do, and there's 5 of them. There are other colors for that, and I think I should have enough for that one. So, alrighty, let's go ahead, and I'm gonna pause you for just a second and we'll get our heart cut. Okay, so I need 18 2.5 by 5 inch pieces. Just double checking here. Yep, 18 2.5 by 5 inch pieces. I'm hoping this all works out okay, because EQ8 gave me instructions for actually making the diagonal cut. So it told you wanted to do you know, like in 8s, it gives you that, and I don't want to do that. I just want to do the stitch and flip method. So 2.5 by 5 inch pieces is what I'm going with. I may end up having to redo my math and use some other fabrics or something like that, but I think I've got it right. It's kind of late at night and my brain's a little bit fried. Sit down at the sewing machine and go, oh, that was dumb. Anyhow, alright, so 2.5 by 5. Alright, I need 18, not sure how many strips I got here, 3, 6, 7. 7, so 14. Strips out of this one. Alright, so I've got my 18-inch pieces, top and bottom of my heart. Over here with the other scraps. And then I need 6 2.5 by 9.5. That's gonna, and these are gonna create the center of our heart. I just need to line it up a little bit better here. Things kind of got shifted around and not exact, but they're going to be okay for now. No, I shouldn't say that in cutting. It should be exact. But a few threads off. Alright, and I said 6 of these, so I'm not sure how many strips I even have. 3, 4, 6. I don't want to cut anything shorter than I have to, just because I've got a a couple more blocks still to do. And of course I always like to use the scraps for my backing, so if I don't cut that one, or if I don't need that one, then don't cut it. 6, okay. And these need to be 9.5. So 9.5. Alright, and that's just starch. So I starch my fabrics before I start cutting. Unless it's a pre-cut, then I don't worry about it. Alright, so I've got some scraps left of that one. Alright, now I'm just going to go ahead and lay out my block. And I'll bring it back when I get done laying it out. I like to have it laid out before I start sewing it. Okay, so this is kind of how it's laid out. Of course we have to do our half square triangles to create our heart, but I just wanted to get it kind of set out so that I have everything in order. And basically, normally I like to start with the center strips and work my way out. I might do that still with this block, but you could easily just go row by row by row and work on it. I don't know, I'll decide in a little bit which way I want to start it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start sewing from the top down. The center could get a little bit tricky, and I thought about doing that first just in case I mess something up, but I think I'm going to start from the top down. So I've sewn together the top 3 strips. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the bottom 3 strips, because the center you have to do together because of the side strip here. I didn't bother pressing anything just yet. I'd like to go ahead and press my center pieces because of the half square triangles that we're going to have to do for the hearts. And I just can't remember exactly which direction I'm going to want to press them, so I just kind of left them for now, and we'll press the strips before we sew the strips together. Okay, so I finished the top 3 and I finished the bottom 2 strips, but it occurred to me that I should probably come back for the third from the bottom in the very center, just because of the heart shape. I need to go over how to do the half square triangles, etc. So I'm going to go ahead and put you back over by my sewing machine, and I'll show you what we're going to do with the half square triangles. Okay, I'm going to sew together the two outside pieces. I'll go ahead and sew those together first here, and then we'll work on our center of this strip. Alright, so for our center, let's hope I can remember what I'm doing. Okay. So, I want to take these three pieces, and this is going to have a V to it. So, we're going to take this and sew along here. Just going to take this and sew down from point to point. You may want to mark it. I have markings on my sewing machine, so I'm going to go by those. Just going to mark it from point to point. Oh, and I'm bunching up here in my sewing machine. What's going on? Let's go ahead and cut it. Oh, yep, it bunched up the point. I usually go the other way around. I wasn't thinking. Usually feed it through this way. Okay. I should fix that, but it'll be fine. Alright, and I'm just going to go ahead and take this one. I will cut this off, cut the half square triangle off later. Actually, I will sew it down and then cut it off. I like to collect my half square triangle pieces later. Alright, so then I'm going to go ahead and take the other piece and actually I think I might have miscut. I did. So, pretty sure I had you miscut several pieces in this. Yep, so this piece should have still been a 4.5 inch. Alright, so I'm going to have to, when I edit all this, I'll have to put the text over and have you cut it right. So I cut it for 5 inches. I cut the other pieces. I cut them all to rounded up to the inch, thinking that I was going to have to cut off a quarter of an inch on each side, but I'm not. I kind of wondered if my thinking was going incorrect. So if I cut it to 4.5 inches, And if I go ahead and, yeah, and then it'll be, okay. Alright, I'm going to stop at this point and go ahead and cut these down 1/2 inch. Okay, so I cut that down 1/2 inch, so it's a 4.5 inch piece. And we'll go ahead and sew this down. And sew it from point to point. And then we'll take a look at it. Okay, so that's going to make the base of our heart. Let's check my measurement here against my sewing machine. Alright. That should be right then. I'm going to go ahead and sew my triangles down and cut them off. So I like to kind of, well, I might not be able to because this one's a bit jacked, but oh well. I have a lot of little half square triangles that I have to square up one of these days and use in a scrap quilt. Unfortunately, these ended up a little less than 1/4 inch, but it'll be fine. Scant 1/4 inch. Put those, go ahead and alright, so alright, I'm going to go ahead and sew my ends on one of these just to make sure that my overall strip is the right size. Okay, I think that's gonna be right. Yep, that's what I needed to do. Okay. Okay, so at this point you want your center of the heart piece to be 9 inches. I think I had said 9.5, but we want 9 inches. So I need to cut mine down. So let's see here. Let's go ahead and cut a 1/2 inch off of this. Okay, so you want your center to be 9.5 inches. And we're going to take our side pieces and so on, just like we did before. Okay, so for our very center strip, we want to do half square triangles. So we're going to do, actually we're going to do it this way, sorry. Start this way. I had a piece that I already tried out and sewed wrong, so I had to undo it, and then that's why I accidentally sewed it on backward. And then when I got it cut, I had to set it aside and use a different piece. I forgot I needed to cut these. Oh. Okay, so we've got the top part of our heart. So now we just need to add on the sides. So, let me see here. Let's turn these around. Here we go. Alright, so we just want to sew our sides at an angle as well. Evened up here. Alright, I've got all of my strips sewn together now, and forgive me, I'm going to have to move the camera and set you down to the side here. I just wasn't able to get all of the strips in frame and actually keep them apart from each other. So what I'm going to have to do now, my two center strips are sewn together, but they had sides that have to be sewn on. So when I pressed them already off camera, when I pressed them, I started with the center pieces. So let me back you up just a little bit here. And I'm actually going to turn them over and show you how I pressed them. So, top one here, I actually pressed I would consider this to be pressing to the outside. It's to the inside on these particular seams right here, but I pressed it to the outside on this portion right here. So these are pressed to the outside. So you can see to the outer. And then the next one that attaches to that, I actually pressed to the inside. And you can see my iron wasn't heated up hot really well, so I'm going to have to iron a couple of them again. But it should be pressed to the inside so that when I go to place these together, they seams should nest. It's not as much of a worry with when you've got the half square triangles, but you can kind of see there where this one should nest to the outside with this one nested to the inside. So I started with those, and I'm going to go ahead and lay them upside down so that I can show you the rest of them. And actually, let me go ahead and bring them up a little bit so that I can hopefully get all of them in the picture facing the right way for you. So let me kind of move you down here. Sorry about that. So, other bottom one went to the outside, and you can see that's because I still need to sew the piece on here at the sides. But I just want to show you the seams here real quick. So to the inside with this one means to the outside, to the outside. And then just let me lay the rest of these out here. So we went inside, outside, to the outside with this one. Even though it doesn't match up with any seams along here, when I do the piece on here, it will go to the inside, because this is outside, this is outside. This one right here, when it sews on, will be to the inside. Now most people don't go over the seams a lot. You know, most of the time if you've been sewing for a while, you can figure it out on your own. I just want to be sure that I kind of go over what I had to do for pressing. So basically start with your center. Technically I started with this one. I went to the outside, pressed to the inside, outside, inside, outside, outside, inside, outside. And then, like I said, when I sew this piece on here and on here, they will actually be pressed to the inside so that they can match up with the seams here. Alright, so just wanted to go over that real quick and kind of show you. Oh, and you're losing the top one here. Let me move the camera again real quick and lay that out for you. And that way, if you're doing this block, you can kind of refer back to this little area here and see inside, outside, inside, outside. Alright. So now I am going to sew my center pieces together and then sew on the side patches there, and then we'll start sewing all the strips on. Okay, so I sewed together the top 2 rows. Now I'm going to sew together the bottom 2 rows, and then I'll get started on the center. Okay, so I have my two very center pieces here. So I'm going to go ahead and sew those together, and then I'll sew the sides on each end. And I'll have my middle done. Okay, so I sewed together the top strips and I sewed together the bottom strips. Now I'm going to iron again, and then I'll sew the top strips, center, and the bottom all together. Alright, you see our mystery quilt is starting to come together here. So we've actually got our first, well technically our first 3 blocks done. It's only 2 parts because I lost the first part that where I sewed this piece and the piece up there. But those 2 pieces are technically the same style as this one right over here. It's just that with this one I actually changed the center color here in the strips, so it actually kind of creates an XO, which is kind of neat. I almost wish I would have done it on these 2 pieces, but anyhow, so this is what we've got so far, and we've got 1 more block to do. Technically I'm going to do it in 2 different colors though, so stay tuned for the next part.